All right, if you're a senior C# dev and you've got your sights set on a FANG company, listen up. This is the master plan you've been waiting for. We're going to lay out step by step exactly how to go from where you are right now to landing that top-tier offer, and do it all in just 90 days.
Okay, let's just get this out of the way right now because this is probably the biggest mental block we need to shatter. So many C# developers feel like their specialization is a handicap, right? That you're at a disadvantage in a world dominated by Java or Python. I'm here to tell you that's just flat out wrong. It's a myth. Your deep expertise in the .NET world, that's not a bug, it's a feature. It is your secret weapon, and we're going to show you exactly how to use it.
So, first things first, let's talk about why your C# skills aren't just good enough. They're actually in high demand.
Okay, look at this. Microsoft is the no-brainer, obviously. But here's what most people don't realize. Google, Google. They have teams, especially working on things like Kubernetes and container integration, that are actively seeking C# talent. And Amazon, AWS is all in on .NET Core. And we're not talking about some small, forgotten side projects here. This is core infrastructure. That means there are very specific, very important roles out there where your C# background doesn't just get you in the door, it puts you at the front of the line.
All right, so we've established you have a real advantage. The big question is, how do you actually prepare? Let's get into the plan. And look, this isn't about just randomly grinding problems. This is a targeted, strategic campaign.
So what's the magic number? It's 270 hours. Yeah, that sounds like a lot, but break it down. It's basically 3 hours a day for 90 days. Think of it like you're training for a marathon. It's a serious commitment, for sure, but it's not forever. It's a focused sprint with a massive career-changing prize at the finish line.
And here's how we're going to slice up that time. Look at this. Almost half of your time, 48%, is going straight into algorithms. That part is absolutely non-negotiable. Then, system design gets a huge 30% chunk. After that, we dedicate a special 15% to that .NET deep dive. That's where you sharpen your unique advantage. And finally, a super important 7% for behavioral prep. Because trust me, that's often where people stumble right at the end.
So really, it all comes down to this. Your success is going to stand on these three pillars. You've got algorithm mastery, system design expertise, and behavioral excellence. You can't neglect any of them. They all hold each other up. If you can master these three, you'll walk into that interview process ready for absolutely anything they can throw at you.
Okay, let's tackle the biggest pillar first, algorithm mastery. Now, for a senior developer, this is so much more than just, finding the right answer. It's all about proving your engineering maturity and showing them how you think.
And this right here, this is the key difference maker. A junior dev, they might get a correct solution, and that's great for them. But you, as a senior candidate, the expectation is way higher. You need to deliver an optimized solution. And, this is critical, you have to be able to explain the time and space complexity using Big O notation for every single solution. It's not optional, it's mandatory. It's how you prove you're always thinking about performance and scale.
So here's how we're going to break down the learning. Month 1 is all about the fundamentals. You need to be absolutely fluent in arrays, linked lists, and especially hash tables. They're the building blocks for everything else. Then, in month 2, we level up. We dive into the advanced stuff like trees, tries, and graphs. And then, month 3 is all about application, tackling those really complex problems and learning to spot the common patterns that you're going to see over and over in these interviews.
And this is where you pull out your C# superpower. While you're solving a problem, you don't just stop at the algorithm. You go deeper. Imagine being able to talk about the inner workings of enumerable and deferred execution. You can explain exactly how a link query gets processed behind the scenes and what that means for performance, especially when you're using something like Entity Framework. Think about it. A Java or Python dev just can't bring that level of platform-specific insight. This is how you make yourself unforgettable.
All right, let's move on to pillar number 2, system design. This is the big one. This is where you prove you're not just a coder, you're an architect who can design massive, scalable systems.
Okay, listen closely, because the #1 mistake people make here is grabbing the marker and just starting to draw. Don't do it. You need a framework, a process. Always start by clarifying the requirements. Ask questions. How many users? What are the core features? What's the scale? Then, do some quick back-of-the-envelope math, just some rough estimates on traffic and data. It shows you're thinking like an engineer. Only then do you start drawing boxes and lines. That structured, thoughtful approach is exactly what they want to see.
You know, a huge part of system design isn't about having the right answer, it's about explaining your trade-offs. The CAP theorem is the perfect example. You have to be able to clearly say why you're picking one thing over another. Like you'd say, for a financial system, I'm absolutely choosing a SQL database because I need rock-solid consistency. But then you'd follow up with, but for a social media feed, I'd go with NoSQL, because getting the content to the user quickly, high availability, is way more important than it being perfectly, instantly consistent.
And once again, here's where you bring it all back home to your C# expertise. So when they're talking about microservices, you're the one who can bring up distributed tracing with OpenTelemetry and gRPC and explain how you can track a request as it bounces between dozens of services. When concurrency comes up, you can have a deep conversation about the pros and cons of async await. You can talk about the real-world performance hits from value versus reference types. Heck, you can even show off by explaining how to build a perfect, thread-safe singleton using lazy-T. This proves your big-picture architectural ideas are built on a foundation of deep, practical knowledge.
Okay, on to our final pillar, and please do not underestimate this one, behavioral excellence. This is just as critical as any technical round. Seriously, this is where they figure out if you're a leader, if you're a good teammate, and frankly, if you're someone they'd actually want to see at work every day.
And for this part, there's really only one tool you need to master, the STAR method. It's simple. Whatever question they ask, you frame your story like this. Here was the situation. Here was the task I had to do. Here's the specific action I took, and here's the tangible result of what I did. Following this little framework keeps you from rambling and helps you tell a story that's clear, concise, and powerful every single time.
And you absolutely have to prep your stories ahead of time. You're going to get a question about conflict. It's a classic. And listen, the goal is not to prove you were right and they were wrong. The goal is to show that you're mature enough to listen, to see their side of things, and to work towards a solution that's good for the team and the project.
Another one you can bet on is about leadership. And remember, this doesn't mean you had to be the team lead or a manager. Leadership is about taking ownership when nobody else would, or spending extra time to mentor a junior dev who was struggling, or being the calm voice that guided the team through a really messy situation.
And then there's the big one, the failure question. This isn't a trick. They're testing your humility and your ability to bounce back. So pick a real failure, not some fake "my weakness is I work too hard" nonsense. Own it. Take responsibility. But then, and this is the most important part, show them exactly what you learned from it and how you use that lesson to do better next time.
Now here's the absolute best part. You don't have to make up some fluffy story about teamwork. Your best behavioral stories are your technical stories. Instead of a generic story about leadership, tell them about the time you fought for the dependency inversion principle and how that single architectural decision saved the project months of headaches down the road. Talk about how you resolved a heated debate about DI life cycles. Or tell them about the time you boosted performance by showing the team the hidden dangers of boxing and unboxing. These are your stories of leadership and impact.
So you see, it all connects. Your deep technical knowledge isn't separate from your behavioral skills. For a senior engineer, they are one and the same. Your code, your design patterns, your architectural choices, those are the proof behind your leadership stories.
So there you have it. The roadmap is clear. The pillars are defined. The 270-hour timeline is right in front of you. The only thing missing now is you taking that first step. So my only question for you is, what's the first thing you're going to study today?